Welcome back to the Hill Update. My name is Dean Allison, and joining me on the show today is Tim Hudak, CEO of the Ontario Real Estate Association. I also want to mention Tim is also the chair of the Board of Governors of Robert Land Academy. Tim, you also chaired the Tourism Economic Recovery Ministerial Task Force for the Government of Ontario back in 2021. And do you realize that you were named Minister of Culture, Tourism, and Recreation of February in 2001? That's like almost 20 years later. That's incredible.
Yeah, and thanks for saying, Dean. I must have started when I was 9 years
No,
old.
you were young. You were very young when you got started. So that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh,
Listen,
nice to say. Well, let me throw I want to say thank you. You've been an outstanding representative for the folks of Niagara West delivering for the riding. And importantly, you as a business leader and entrepreneur employ people in the riding. You help a lot of people put food on the table. And also a lot of young people save up for college and university. So thanks for what you've done in both respects yourself.
so listen, let's watch one last video of the opposition leader talking again about housing, and we'll get your thoughts as we move forward.
The results speak for themselves. When I was the housing minister, rent was $950. It's now over $2,000. When I was the housing minister, the average mortgage payment on a newly purchased home was $1,400. It's now over $3,500. And my common sense plan would require cities permit 15% more home building as a condition of getting federal money, require they build housing around transit stations rather than having empty fields there, and sell off 6,000 federal buildings and thousands of acres of federal land to build. Why won't he build homes instead of building bureaucracy?
Yeah. All right, so one of the recommendations Pierre has there is exactly in the report, building up around train stations. So as we look at this, what are some of the challenges you see as we move forward to try and implement these things? I mean, these are great. You talk about NIMBYism. You're not in my backyard. That is a huge one. I mean, how do you get around things like that? But what are some of the other challenges governments are going to have to deal with as we try and right the ship on this housing?
Yeah, I was going to say, look at my ears there. They're dancing. That was music to my ears, right? I like the idea of using government land to build new homes targeted at first-time home buyers. They did that in New York City. Dean, using city land, 160,000 homes got done in New York. So imagine what we could do for Canada for first-time buyers and affordability. I really liked what Leader Polyev said there around carrots and sticks. So you need to reward municipalities that are playing ball, that are building new homes, keeping their young people there because they can find a place they can afford. They should get on the targetless infrastructure. The arena, the road, the bridge should go to the top of the list. But for those municipalities that are putting up walls, who are saying, we don't want newcomers in our area, we don't want our young people to live here, you have to have a stick. So you got to force it, or their projects go to the bottom of the list. So I really like those two items. To your question, Dean, what does it take to get it done? I mentioned that toolbox. It's the guts to actually take the tools out and put them to work. Bold choices, they'll get the homes built. If you stick your head in the sand and just hope things will get better, we're going to lose our young talent to other provinces and states.
So talking to developers, or even talking to anybody that's building a home, for themselves the first time, lots of red tape to get through, and it just seems like no one's got any real sense of urgency to move the ball. And as you said before, if I've got a house and I want to do something to land, developers got land and they can't do anything, they still got to carry the cost of that, which adds cost to the whole system. Once again, is it something where the municipalities have got to get tough with those people that say, I don't want it in my backyard, and just make it happen? Or is that going to be lots of red flags thrown up and people giving them a hard time?
Yeah, you start with the carrots, right? So municipalities that will finally stand up to the NIMBY forces and they'll get homes built, reward them for that with things like the Building Homes Faster Fund we have here provincially. Number two on the list, municipalities don't, then the province does have to act. The province has done that in some respects. Like in Toronto, they've expanded zoning to build higher along transit stations. Makes sense. So the province has to have the courage to actually step in where municipalities do step back. But you nailed it, Dean. The red tape, the runaround, the process involved, that is one of the highest drivers of cost. And as you know from your experience in business, right, every month, every 6 months of delay, inflation kicks in and the housing prices gets that much higher when the home finally gets built.
Well, Tim, I want to thank you very much for joining us on the show this week. I mean, I encourage people to go and check that report out because, like I said, there's over 109 pages of recommendations and thoughtful feedback, and I think it would be great for people to have a look. We'll get you back on to talk about other things another time because this issue is not going away anytime soon. Thanks for joining us, Tim.